Hi guys, and welcome to the third vlog post from the Happy Crafty Homemaker. I am Carrie, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we are filming in the floor of my craft room, so be forewarned, we may have some intrusions by cats and some camera wobbling and wibbling about. We're in front of my yarn wall, or my fabric wall, sorry. My yarn wall actually does not film very well because I don't have a section that's like the beautiful colors. This at least looks neat. It's still distracting. It's not very pretty, but I still haven't had time to get up here and clean. We've been prepping, not knowing what Hurricane Florence is going to do. So, I've had to do things like make sure we've got enough bathtubs scrubbed out that we can store water for the toilets and stuff, and bathing, and doing the run around to make sure we have enough batteries and a camp lantern. And I'd really like to be able to knit in the evening or crochet in the evening to entertain myself. So heads up, we just have our first cat running back in here, so things make it weird. But yeah, so we're filming in front of my fabric today. Like I said in the Great Craft Downs beginning on my written blog, I have too many supplies, and I haven't even had a chance to start sewing yet because my craft room still isn't sewable ready. I might have to cut patterns upstairs and take my sewing machine downstairs on like Mondays and Tuesdays when I have my grandson Tater Tot. Not his real name. We're not that weird. But when Tater Tot's here, I can generally sit in the room I've been filming in and keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't get into anything. When his sister, Milla Wafer, is here, it gets a little bit harder to work. She's older, she likes to touch everything, and she wants to help. But right now, it's just Tater Tot, so maybe Mondays and Tuesdays I can start trying to sew in my front room and get some stuff done. I just totally got blurry. Ah, there we go. All right, I guess I need to... No leaning back. So, finished objects. Now that I've rambled on for 3 minutes, I did the scarf from the Dublin duo, and the book is Celtic Cable Crochet by Bonnie Barker. I actually didn't know about this book. I found out about this book when Krista over at The Secret Yarnery here on YouTube, she got it in an Amazon purchase because she wanted to make the poncho on the front. I got the feeling that she didn't know how she felt about the other patterns. I, on the other hand, was so smitten with the patterns, I bought her other book, which is like Modern Cables. So what I'm going to do is I really just kind of want to work this whole book. But right now I'm going to do 3 different patterns. I've completed the first one, and I've got my handy dandy post-it note to remind me of what I've done. I've got the first one done, and then I want to come back and review it for you guys. Do I think they're beginner friendly? The same kind of thing as what I'm trying to do with the yarn subscription boxes, but books everybody can use. And I really love crochet cables. I like the chunkier texture. I like the very surface texture you get. I'm a big fidgeter. So for me, just having that I can just touch is actually a lot of fun. So far so good on the book. Love the pattern Dublin Duo. I believe you can buy that one separately. It's just the hat and scarf pattern apart from the book, but I'd highly recommend the book if you like crochet cables so far. My written blog post that coordinates to this show and tell section is actually entitled Hats, 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 and a Scarf. Because everything else I've done is a big pile of hats. So, start with these two. These are going to be entered in the South Carolina State Fair. They are the exact same pattern, and it's called K&K by Nathania, I think that's how you say that, her name, Apple. Link is in the description box below. It is also on my blog post description, or link in the description box below. But I love this kind of trim on a knitted project. It's kind of a pain in the tushy to do. And both of these were the first time I've used magic loop and half loop, because I couldn't find size 8 needles in town or in my own stash. They're in a project somewhere and I don't know where they are. So it was even more difficult for me to do the turned up, just because it's so fidgety. Once you get rolling, though, it's easier. But I've done this pattern before. I just love that hem. Also great on sweaters. The bottom hem and the cuffs on sweaters. I love it. It's very simple. You knit with a smaller size needle, do a series of yarn overs, knit 2 together. In this case, it was like 10, I think, rows. Then the yarn over row, and then 9 in your larger size needle. Sorry, there's yarn in my basket down here, and Pippin is now up here wanting to play with it. And then you fold up and you knit it together, so you have this beautiful, I mean, look at my stitch work. It's mighty awesome, if I do say so myself. Beautiful hemmed piece, and I love it. This one didn't that side's pretty. But yeah, I love this pattern. It's a very, very simple hat with a beautiful rim on it. I love the style of decreasing done. They are slightly different for each size hat. There are 3 hat sizes, I believe, a large, a medium, and a small. The only exception is this is the toddler size hat, and it is, I mean, it is a pretty small hat. But I'd be a little careful and not necessarily check your gauge, but check the kid's head while working on the toddler size. I've had some turn out especially with worsted weight, and part of that is this hat is right in between what I'd consider a small child and a toddler size. So if you're using a finer size wool or yarn, then you will get more towards the toddler size. If you're using a slightly thicker worsted weight yarn, a little bit more towards a small child size, but it'll be gifted to my friend's little girl. Miss Little Banana, she's my friend. And the pink one will actually stay with me since it's 100% natural, or 100% wool and not superwash. I'll keep that. I also made a skirt out of that wool, so I'm going to wear them together. So I mentioned before, I really enjoy Margaret Olander's videos, and having somebody who speaks to charity knitting a lot. Yeah, I haven't made any attempt to hide my cross and my St. Anne medal, while filming, but, having somebody else of faith who donates through charities, and primarily vlogs about that, I found to be very helpful. Her and Krista at The Secret Yarnery are the 2 reasons why I went ahead and started my own vlog, because I wanted to share my experiences with yarn crafting. And also, I haven't been knitting that long. I mean, I know 10 years sounds like a long time, but it really isn't, especially in comparison to the fact I've been crocheting for 30 years now. So always something new to learn. And with charity knitting, what are good hats? What are good patterns to use? What are good yarns to use? Reminding people you constantly need to check in with the charity that you're planning to donate with about their needs and expectations. A lot of homeless related or poverty related charities don't accept natural fibers, because a lot of the stuff, when it's being cleaned, is going to be cleaned in very hot water for sanitary purposes. A lot of hospitals, like cancer wards and things like that, there are different requirements for those as well. And seeing a channel like Margaret's, where she gently reminds you of these things and shares with you the patterns that she's enjoyed doing, and also going back and watching all of her videos from where she learned how to knit and is still a very beginner crocheter to where she is now, it's just so much fun. So I tried out Margaret's favorite crocheted hat pattern, and it's the Better Late Than Never. and I did 2. And I have to say, my seam looks awfully nice. I remembered to, in order to get smooth seams in circular rounds, you do your crochet stitch and then your increase stitch, your crochet stitch and then your increase stitch. Not, a lot of patterns are written for your increase and then your stitch, your increase and then your stitch. But if you do the stitches first, then the increase fills into the bulk. If you do it at that seam, it kind of pushes that seam, so you end up with the diagonal. I just totally followed my own finger. Diagonal seam there. So I have to say, my seam looks awfully nice. And of course, I forgot to write down whose pattern this is. But I do have a link. And it's also in my written blog post. And then I just don't use a whole lot of orange, so I kind of wanted to get rid of all the orange. Get my leg out from under me here. Floor filming. I wanted to hurry up and get rid of it. I still have one more whip that will finish off this ball of orange, but this is left over from the corner to corner rainbow blanket. But I took this hat, measured how large the U was, because I really liked the base circle for that, and just did a double strand hat. Very quick, very easy, double crochet. I did do a single crochet end row. So hats, and a scarf. And that's the end of show and tell for my whips. I haven't made any progress on the knit crates. I've been getting ready for the fair, and like I said, getting ready, not knowing what this hurricane was going to do. Yesterday morning at this time, they said to expect 80-mile-per-hour winds where I am, and now this morning they're saying 30 to 40-mile-per-hour winds, but we still may get over 10 inches of rain here. So we don't know what to expect. Every time we check the weather, it's something different. So better prepared, I suppose. I'm more worried about getting flooded in. I'm not worried about wind damage here, but we've been flooded in once from storms. That was the 100-year flood. South Carolina pride, y'all. So, you know, we've spent a lot of time with that, so I really didn't get back around to the knit crate work. I will get that shawl done before the next knit crate, though. Oh, Pippin has now brought up a toy to entertain himself. So, let's start with needles. So, in my written blog a couple weeks ago, I was describing to you our recent trip to Portland, and in the first blog post I mentioned the yarn store Woolly Woolly Wagtails and Washougal, Washington. And hi Jennifer, I will be sending you a link here. Your address should be below. If I get it wrong, let me know. So she got me hooked on these. It was my birthday, and we were joking about it being my birthday yarn trip on top of, normally I'll get one project's worth of yarn when I'm on a trip. Since it was my birthday, I got 3 projects yarn, and all of them have some sort of local flair. I describe them all and show you gorgeous pictures of this beautiful yarns on the written blog. So go to the tag or label Portland, and you will see more about that. Plus, Jennifer's little garden outside of her shop. It was just so sweet and cute and perfect. If you are in that area, go. It is worth a 45-minute drive at least to get to her shop, because it's just so sweet and she's so wonderful. But she gave me 2 birthday gifts. One was a set of needles, because I had never worked with these. And she also gave me a beautiful cotton yarn to try, which I haven't had a chance to try yet. But these are awesome. And I know I'm kind of late to the game on this, but I've actually got 2 sets of needles that I'm reviewing, kind of. But like I said with the hat, I had to use magic loop. And So, okay, number one, these were my birthday gifts from Jennifer over at Woolly Woolly Wagtails. Love, 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 love. Definitely will be coming back, and the price point is so much better on my wallet than the Addie Lace. Not quite as pointed as the Lace Turbos, but somewhere between Lace and Lace Turbo, in my opinion. The cable is a little bit stiffer than the Knitter's Pride, but easily, I was able to pull it out for half loop and pull it into the 2 loops and do full decreases and everything for my tiny kids K&K hat. So love, love, love. Expect in my email to also have an order for a couple more of these. Thank you. Yeah, so may have my new favorite standard size 32 knitting needle. Onto these. Now, I have, if you know me in real life, if you've been friends with me, if you craft with me, I am a huge advocate of interchangeable needles. I love interchangeable needles. I do always have some solid needles on hand, just because when I'm cranking out a bunch of hats, or if I'm going to be working on a huge project, I actually prefer working with these. If I'm going to be doing an extended amount of stuff in one sitting or one group. But I do a lot of different things. I sometimes, when I'm traveling and stuff, I need to have interchangeable needles on hand, or it's just easier to pack. These are the Knitter's Pride. I picked them up at Hobby Lobby. The tips were $7.99 for a size 6, $8.99 for the size 8, and $2.99 for the 32-inch cable. Now, the cable, I really like. It is a very pliable, especially for an interchangeable. Now, I do know Chayagoos also have a wonderful interchangeable set. Might be putting that on my Christmas wish list. But, I mean, this is also a very pliant. It's my only concern with this, while it did do well for Magic Loop, my only concern is it's the kind of plastic that you could bend, crack, or break if you're a little too rough. And I tend to be a little bit rough, which is why I really like the steel coated cables for the other needles more. But my biggest issue in using these wasn't the cable, which I'm not a needle snob normally. Normally I'm a cable snob because I solely straight knit everything on circulars. So I tend to be a bit of a cable snob and a join snob. The join for these for interchangeables was beautiful. I think I'm spoiled with all the nickel plate. I didn't like the needles that much. They're not bad. If I was using something very slippery, I probably would want to use these. They had just enough drag, so something very slick, like a rayon blended yarn would be great with them. But I didn't hate them. I didn't dislike them. I meh them. Since I used my 40% off coupon, I got a fairly decent deal on the tips because it was an emergency need. I couldn't find that needle, and I was thinking I might try to do the method where you use two circular needles to knit them around instead of using Magic Loop. And yeah, I am a recent Magic Loop convert. It happened doing these hats. I've tried doing it before and I just never found it very comfortable, but using half loop on the pink hat made going to full Magic Loop with the two much easier. So, but yeah, if you have these on hand or nearby, or this is what your LYS sells, go for it. Worth the price point. These tips, now I'm not judging the whole Knitter's Pride line. I know a lot of people who use the nickel plates and love them. None of my local stores carry the nickel plates, so I had to go with these. These were the only size 8 and size 6 needles I could find at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and Joann's, and I don't have an LYS near me, which is why I'll be in my email ordering 2 more of these from Woolly Woolly Wagtails, literally across the country from me. So So yeah, there is a local yarn store about a 45-minute drive from me, but I've heard mixed reviews about it, and I'm kind of tentative to go in there. I probably ought to give them a shot. But yeah, 20 minutes in, and I'm still not even halfway through. These were meh, but the really good cable. So apparently these are interchangeable with the Knit Picks needles. So if you have the Knit Picks interchangeable set, some Hobby Lobbies are carrying for $2.99 and use your coupon cables. So that kind of moves us into acquisitions. Today it's coffee in my cup. This is my third cup of coffee. I haven't been getting much sleep because I've been nervous. So let's go with, we're still doing good. We're not breaking the bank. We're not getting ourselves in trouble. So last vlog video, I showed you that I had picked up the Singer knitting machine, and this one was on its way. We're going to give it a shot. It's got really mixed reviews. If you have a good machine, people love it. If you have the misfortune of getting a dud, though, people are livid. And it seems to be 2 bad machines for every good machine. But I want to know how I feel about this form of knitting, and particularly for charity hats and stuff, before I invest in something like the Addy machines. I mean, it's like $300 for the 2, or $250 sometimes, but that's a lot of money. A lot of money. So I really want to make sure I like this form of knitting, even if it's just for hats, or once again, Margaret Olander and her amazing videos. She has some super cute scarves that she does on the smaller Addy. Now, the Singer does have the same number of needles as the smaller Addy. This one has fewer needles than the large one. So I don't think I'll be able to get any, like adult men size hats out of it. It's going to be more, things that I take to one of the female shelters here in town, or women's shelters here in town. Stuff for them, maybe a couple. I could do some cancer hats or something like that with them, and some festive colors, bright colors. But yeah, so I wanted to give it a shot, see what I thought about it. I've seen a couple other recent reviews, and 1 was bad, 3 were good. So we'll see. When I have 15 minutes to sit down with one of these and look at it, I'll let you know what I thought. But as we're going right now, I haven't had too much time. Still in the Carrie hasn't been bad category. I already know the books I'll review next. I am a huge fan of One Skein Wonder projects, patterns, books, collections. I don't just collect books for reading. I collect pattern books. I collect vintage pattern books, but One Skein books are some of my favorite collections to look at when I'm getting ideas of what to do. And I end up, I don't want to say it's a bad habit, but I have always been in the habit of buying at least 1 extra skein of yarn to what I think I need for a project. So very frequently I end up with like 1.5 or 1.25 balls left over. Collections like these are amazing. And also I got, let's see, designer lace sock. I got the One Skein sock book specifically because when I was going through my yarn recently looking for, I wanted to group together all my cottons and all my sock yarns because I have fewer of those, and I could group those in 1 or 2 bins in my cube storage fairly easily. I noticed I have a lot of sock yarn that I've either already made socks out of, or I'm just not in love with anymore for socks. I like the yarn. I like the quality of the yarn. I'd like to show it off a little bit more. So I thought sock yarns would be a good, in particular, this is what got me off on the whole thing anyway. So I do want to see how well these patterns are written. I think these have multiple designers. I do have one Skein crochet on the way, and there might be one more. I did kind of go a little bit crazy, but I found all of them used in like new condition or just under for like $3. And a lot of them had free shipping on Amazon. So that's one of those save money tricks from me is I buy a lot of pattern books from Amazon, but I only buy them used. I used to think that people selling their used pattern books or having, especially because a lot of them come from, Goodwills and stuff. I thought it meant that they were bad patterns, that people just didn't like them, whatever. And I have not had a problem with any of the books, the way they were written, the style, anything that I have ordered secondhand from Amazon. So if there's a book that is a pattern book that, like these are $25 each. I mean, that's not that I can't afford $100 in pattern books. I can't justify spending $100 in pattern books. I could barely justify the $25 that I think I spent total on these. So, but I'm very excited. I added to my collection of books. I might have to add books to what I can't or shouldn't be purchasing next year because I have been buying a lot. There were a couple others that I got, but one Skein anthology pattern books and stittionaries, knitting and crochet stittionaries tend to be my Achilles heel. And I'm not much of a quilter. I've never completed a quilt. I've barely completed a mug rug. If you don't know what a mug rug is, Google it. I love them, especially for when you're sitting at a table eating some nibbles and having a tea or coffee. But yeah, so I also really like these square books where you get like 500 square patterns, and I do look through them to see. Some of them I buy for visual inspiration. Some of them like these I bought for the patterns. How pretty. I mean, just yeah. So, acquisition. Carrie did good acquisition. We've got, double check my book here. Projects, reviews. We're on acquisitions. Needle, pattern. Oh yeah, both patterns. The Better Late Than Ever beanie and the K&K. Great patterns. If you're looking for hat patterns, go. I forgot to just point that out, that I had those in reviews too. Great patterns. Go get them. Okay. Yeah. So my tushy's going a little I'm sitting here. I don't want to end on a bad note. So we're going to go to my final crafty acquisition first. I'd planned on doing it last, but I'd rather end on my other acquisitions. If you have found me from my written blog, you know my love of gray yarn and my absolute shock and despair that somehow I was not just out of gray scraps, but I had somehow managed to run out of gray yarn. All of it. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I was debating on turning the camera so you could see my yarn wall, and just the utter shock that I've got 3 4x4. Mine are Recollections brand, not IKEA. So they're a little bit smaller cubes. But 3 4x4 storage cubes, plus almost the entire top between the break of the wall, because this is a frog. If you go to my written blog, I have 2 sets of pictures showing off my craft room and the progress I've been making in my craft room. Like, just go look at it. It is ridiculous. And in all that yarn, I had 0 gray yarn. So I did go ahead and place an order on this recent deal that Mary Maxim had for some of, I dropped my ring, some of their gray yarn. I haven't tried the yarn. I thought I'd give it a shot. I've seen reviews for the Hirschners, but I went ahead. I've used Mary Maxim yarn before. I haven't used this kind before, but that's neither here nor there. That's why I was on a website placing an order that included yarn. I'm not going to include this towards my stash down, only because I use gray yarn for everything. If you look at the hats that I made back at the beginning of the year during Lent on my written blog, gray is everywhere. I was doing a scrap gan out of blues and grays. I use gray constantly. And to be completely out of all gray yarn is just catastrophic for any type of color work that I do for men. So I placed an order for some gray yarn. Well, they had it for $1 a ball, and they had the, I think they're 10-ounce balls. They might be 12-ounce balls. They're bigger, 1-pound type skeins. They had those on sale for like $3. So I did go ahead and grab those. But while I was there, I got a little pop-up screen, I think it was, that caught my attention. And it asked if I wanted to buy a mystery box. Like, okay. As I've mentioned before on my written blog and in some of my previous vlogs, I run a prayer shawl ministry out of my church. And we have boxes of yarn to make shawls and baby blankets and lap gowns. And I was like, if I can't use it, I can put it in with that stuff. So we've got some larger quantities of similar skeins that we can work. We've got a lot of scraps in there right now. Large scraps, not small scraps, but still it's scrap yarn. And I know it's a lot harder for a lot of people to combine those small scraps into a bigger project. So we really need some blender colors, or those can be the blenders. And anyway, so I figured for $30, I might get $10 use out of it, and I'll put the rest into the donation box. It's not a big deal. Worst comes to worst, if I don't think anybody at the prayer shawl ministry is going to want to use it and I don't want to stash it, it could just be thrown into some hats and sent out the door. So for $30, I think that pushed me over free shipping. And to be honest, for some reason, shipping was very expensive with them this time. I went ahead and said, whatever. I think I had a coupon that was like a certain amount off because I wasn't subscribed to their mailing list. And anyway, I felt like $30 that night was a good deal for this box. Can you see where I'm going? Here. I'm feeling... Yeah, the box was $30. I got 3 balls of this. 3 balls of this. 2 balls of this. Which, I don't mind that colorway so much. Purple, green, cream. 2 balls of this. And 2 balls. Now, I mean, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 balls of yarn for $30. When I buy a mystery box, I'm assuming this is a whole bunch of stuff you're clearancing out at 50% or more. I went online, looked at the recommended retail price from their website for this. I had to go to the Canadian website to get a price because this apparently isn't sold in the US. It's acrylic. Worst to wait. The total retail value on this box was $46.40. I mean, I actually mathed this out. I got... Wow. Still not gonna. There we go. I kind of want to share this as a as the review. Not that I am particularly disgusted by any of these yarns. I don't like working with kitchen cotton, but you know, sometimes you just need a washcloth. I love the Deborah Norville collection by Premier. Premier has made some of my favorite acrylics on the mass-produced market right now. No problem with it. Nothing in here is vile, disgusting, or ugly. I just expected a bigger discount. I have ordered mystery boxes before. I mean, Lion Brand just did a big deal where you could choose the weight of yarn, and it was what they were clearancing out. So for like $10, you got 13 balls of yarn. I mean, you're getting a huge value, even if you don't know what you're getting. There's a surprise in what you're getting. You're still getting your monetary value back in it. And while I got my monetary value back in it, the last ball of this I bought, the Team Spirit, I got on sale with a coupon and paid $1.25 for. The retail price on this is $4.69 from the Red Heart website. So only getting a 35% discount on this, it's the kind of stuff where you get a 50% discount on the regular already. So I didn't feel like I got my true value in it. I will say this is fun. I was kind of disappointed. I just expected, like I said, when I get a mystery box, I expect my retail value to be 50%. I expect, or the discount off of retail to be about 50%. These are things you're clearancing out and getting rid of. I am almost doing you a favor so you're not taking a loss, a total wash on these products. And I got a $46.60 retail value for $30. And all of this is pretty much stuff. I mean, I get these for 25 cents normally. Retail value on these are $1.69. I paid 25 cents for these. So if you're on Mary Maxim's website and that pops up and you're thinking, should I? I would say pass. Hard pass on the value. I will probably forget and end up buying them again. And then I'll come back to this video and be like, why did I do that? I'm such a sucker for it. So, 2 more acquisitions to share. Like I said, I wanted to end on a happy note. So, aw, he got twisted in the bag. There we go. We're getting ready for Halloween. How cute. We went to Tuesday morning. It's near the Hobby Lobby on the other side of town from me. And I was on the hunt for size 8, size 6, size 16 needles. Or 16-inch needles. So, Tuesday morning we went and we found him. And on Monday, before this hurricane stuff started, I had Tater Tot, and he's been so good the last couple days, and I needed to try to find a size 8 or size 6 circular needle. So I told him if he was really good, we'd go to the Target and look at Halloween stuff. Well, Grandma found herself some toys. I forgot to put paper in these so you can see the design. How cute, right? I love the holiday Pyrex and I love Halloween. I kept walking around. It's beginning to look a lot like Halloween. Everywhere you go. I mean, I love Christmas too, don't get me wrong, but I thought these guys were just too cute. So yeah, Halloween acquisitions. We're there we go. We'll probably start decorating the house for fall and Halloween in the next 2 weeks. It's still 90 degrees here. It's kind of hard to think about Halloween right now. But we've got to, because we're going to run out of time like we did last year. It stayed hot so long last year we didn't even want to decorate the front yard. So time to start getting those things pulled out and ready. Maybe if Cotton Top can't work in the office and nobody else is available to work on Monday, maybe we'll start getting things pulled out and start decorating. But I think that's it. I've somehow managed to sit here and talk at y'all for like 42 minutes. I am so sorry, you guys. Yeah, so if you have any questions about the yarn, about the websites, about the patterns that I've got listed below, my blog, how I feel about hurricanes, I don't know. Do I want to sell my cats to the circus? Yes. Yes, I do. Comment below. I'm trying to get back at everybody very quickly. Sorry, Randy. I think I clicked cancel instead of reply. Also, last thing, the update on the 25-pound challenge. I'm at 33, what is that? 33.9 ounces. I've got the total, each project, and the project it is. So yeah, 33.9 ounces out of 400 ounces. So I've crossed 2 pounds. Good. Long way to go. I mean, 2 pounds in what's essentially been 3 weeks. So I got a lot of work ahead of me. But yeah, so next week I will hopefully have a couple more items that are ready to show you. I do have another Better Late Than Never hat I started. Should have some baby booties, hopefully. Maybe a baby sweater. I'm trying to crank out all those little things. I've got some finishing work I need to get done, but that won't count towards my pounds used. So, anyway, since I've kept y'all so long already today, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you're over here on the East Coast, be safe. Take care, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!